would you mind introducing yourself?
So my name is Philip, the full name Philip Amankwa. I'm 29, I'll be 30 this year, which is scary.
Wow, that's deep still.
Yeah, I know. But I live in Swindon, currently live in Swindon. I currently work as a teaching assistant in a primary school. But my working experience, I've worked with like young people and youth. So that's my working background. I came to this country in 2007 when I was around 12, going into 13. I came with my family. So we moved to Wales. Wales was the first place I went to, which is very different, completely different from Ghana, obviously. And yeah, that's where we settled, went to school. And then I branched out of Wales when I went to uni. And then, yeah, now I live in England, currently living in England at the moment, but my family, my parents still live in Wales. I don't know what else to say. I've got two siblings.
And what's your blood type? It's not that deep from it. It's all right. Don't worry.
Yeah. So that's me. That's me.
Yeah, that's calm. So yeah, can you just tell us a bit about like, so we went to uni together and like we did a lot of like Christian stuff together, I guess.
Yeah.
I just kind of want to know like what was your journey to like knowing God and like your faith developing kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. So my journey to faith or my journey to Christ or God is so I was born in a Christian like home, a Christian background. When I was growing up, I can remember times where myself, my dad, my mom, my siblings, we just wake up like early in the morning before we go to school, before we do anything. We obviously get ready and then we do the morning devotion literally every morning, like around 5 o'clock, between 5 and 6 o'clock, even before breakfast and everything. So when it came to like knowing about like God from a younger age, you can say, yeah, my dad was really good in terms of bringing the family together, doing morning devotion. I remember times as well, like early memories where we'll be reading the Bible together. I remember funny thing is me and my sister and my brother, we used to fight on who would read the verse for the morning, basically.
Wow.
I'd be like, no, I want to read. My brother, no, I want to read. My sister. So we were very like engaged. We were very engaged at a young age, and even praying and stuff like just little things. So that's like my early memories of just being involved within like Christianity anyway, as well as church. Like we were very involved in church. My dad was a deacon. My mom was like one of the leaders of the Sunday school as well. So we came to like, because in Africa, every special occasion in church, like Christmas, Easter, we always did like a nativity play or like a play or some sort, or like reading from the Bible or the poem. So I remember all those things, like doing that within the church. Obviously growing up within the church as well, like we used to have the children's day, children's service. So I was very much involved like from a young age within the church. So those are my early memories, like growing up, of growing up within a Christian home. And then obviously when we came to this country, my dad was very good and very consistent when it came to just keep that going. So again, doing morning devotion every time and all of that. And then I think when I went to uni, I still had that upbringing with me. But the only thing is I wasn't going to church kind of thing. So I'd read the Bible like within my student accommodation. I'll read the Bible. I'll listen to gospel music, listen to a bit of preaching here and there, but I didn't really meet like Christian people around me where I could grow, I suppose you'd say. I went to Christian Union, like CU for a bit, but I wasn't very committed to it. I wasn't dedicated to it. I'll just go just for the social aspect of it, if that made sense. And yeah, so I think having done that, not really having that consistency around me, I sort of lost touch in terms of reading my Bible. I'll do that maybe once a month, or hardly ever do that. Where I was just doing my own thing, and especially like having come from an African background, an African home as well, where things were a bit strict. To go into a position where you're a bit independent, or you're left on your own, especially in a uni setting, you know, you tend to go crazy, or that independence can get to you. You know, you feel like you can do what you want. So because of that, I was I put my faith or my Christianity to the side, where I was like, I've got time, I can do what I want. I can always come back to God later, kind of thing. In terms of my own personal growth, my own personal relationship, I wouldn't say that I had that. I had that for myself. So yeah, it wasn't until my final year where I met you and a group of other Christians that I felt I met people that I could relate to, and also going to a church, because we went to Redeem Church, didn't we? So that was where I was open to a group of people like myself, who are also Christians. And then I suppose, yeah, I saw people who were within the church, like young people who were within the church, who were serving God, who were serving was serving within the church as well. And I was very intrigued about that. I was like, oh, you know what? It's nice to see people like that within the church, because previously, like I said, I wasn't really going to church. I wasn't really socializing with people like that anyway. So it was hard to be consistent. It was hard to manage that. It was hard to maintain that. So because of that, I was like, oh, okay, you know what? I actually want to be like this. I guess I was motivated to also want to serve within the church, also want to take my Christianity seriously, kind of thing. But I suppose with me not being consistent, like I talked about, I wasn't going wild, if that makes sense. Like I wasn't doing like wild things, like I don't know, like drinking or smoking or stuff like that. I was just content in what I was like, content in me, just like not reading the words, not praying, but at the same time, at the back of my head, I knew that, you know, I needed to get serious. I needed to, I knew what I needed to do, but I wasn't doing it. I suppose I was lazy. But the difference was when I met people like myself and I found that relatedness, it was easy, because, you know, you can do it together. We're doing Bible studies together. There was men's group together. There was prayers together. And those things makes it easy to get back into it, if that makes sense. I remember a specific moment. So I was involved within the prayer, which you were as well. You were in that, like a
Really?
prayer. Sorry, I mean the prayer group in uni.
Oh, right, yeah, cool.
Yeah, that we were in. I remember. I think it was either one of the first or the second session where we were praying, and I felt this heaviness within my heart, and it's hard to describe, but basically I felt this heaviness within my heart, and I knew that, right, I need to change. I need to be serious, you know. I need to get myself into a relationship with God. And I felt this heaviness. I even remember just crying and stuff like that, because I knew that I felt this conviction. Yeah, that's what I felt, this conviction within me, like, right, your time is now. You need to go now, kind of thing. And since then, I felt a confidence within me, like in terms of, I was like, before that I was shy. Like I would hold back. I wouldn't want to lead things. I would rather want to be in the background, just hanging around. Maybe I'll give one or two comments, but after that I was I just felt this confidence within me that I was ready to go, you know. I was ready to lead things. I was ready to go out there and just proclaim my faith out there, kind of thing, and also to work within myself internally. So I was interested in reading the Bible, trying to understand that, also dedicated to praying as well, just to have a close relationship with God, for myself, before I go out there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you mentioned at the start that like you and your siblings, like do you know, during like your family devotions, is it
Yeah,
um
yeah, family
that you
event.
guys would be like fighting over like who would get to read the Bible first, kind of thing,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that you guys were all very much engaged. Um, is there anything you can point to as to like why you guys had that attitude? Because you know there are some other families where it's like
Mm.
it's a bit of a drag.
He made it really fun and engaging, you know. So for example, he'd be like, "Oh, today you'd read this. Today, maybe myself, I'll read this. Tomorrow, my sister would read this. The next day, my brother would read this." So for me, thinking back now, I think it's the fact that I would get excited because I knew that it was my turn, and I think
Oh,
also it was a bit of a competition because sometimes he would be like, "Oh, today, Philip, your reading was really good," or this, that, that. So
oh,
I think it was those little things that he was doing
mm,
that made it.
mm,
You know, we every morning would look forward to this. You know, and also I remember us just praying together. Like he would teach us how to pray.
mm.
All those little things. It was. I feel like looking back now, I feel like it's very important because now that I'm a grown man and I hope to have a family one day, is this is one of the many things that I would like to have with my family. You know, have that
Mm.
consistency and have that discipline, and you know, yeah, just to keep that going. I really recommend. I commend him for doing that.
Do you
Yeah.
know, can we just take a moment to maybe because you mentioned your dad a few times, even like as part of your testimony. Let's just take a moment to just, well, you
Mm.
take a moment to just like talk about your dad and maybe like his influence on you and like
Yeah.
your Christianity.
Yeah. Okay, so my dad, like I said, I really admired his discipline in terms of getting the family together and also serving within the church. So my dad within the church, he used to be a deacon as well as he used to teach Bible study groups. So in the morning before service started, he was responsible for teaching people who were coming into faith into with it who were coming into the church or who were new in their faith. So he was responsible for teaching them and doing Bible studies with them and praying with them and stuff like that. So I could see his like at an early age, I could see his what's the word?
Dedication or
Yeah,
like
yeah,
passion.
yeah, his passion and his dedication working within the church. And as well as like there'd be times where I'd go to his room and I'll see him reading the word, I see him praying and stuff like that. So as a little child, seeing your parents do that, you know, because as little children, we look up to our parents, you know, because we believe everything they say, we respect everything they say, and we look up to everything they say, kind of thing. So like at a young age, seeing that within my parents, I remember times where I wanted to copy what he was doing, like praying, like how he was praying, or even like how he'd read the Bible and how he would try and just like explain things. I remember one time where I'll be praying like him, like do you get me? Like I'll
Mm.
be reading the Bible like him. I remember at a young age as well, I always used to say to him, I want to be a pastor when I grow up, and it would make him
Mm.
so happy. He'd be like, he'd be so happy, and he would call me Pastor Philip, you know, every time.
Jeez.
So yeah, so I think my dad literally had a lot to do in terms of my Christian faith, you know, like seeing him serve within the church and like I said, and everything, you know, how he would bring the family together. And yeah, I feel like I definitely have to give him props for that, you know. And it's what the Bible, you know, instructs us to do, you know,
Jeez.
parents, you know.
Pastor Phil is started. Pastor Phil, go get him. Go on.
You know, it's what the Bible tells us to do, you know, to bring up your children in the way of the Lord. You know, everything that you do has to start with Christ first. And I can say that he definitely did that. You know, he definitely did that. So I definitely respect and I give him props for that. Yeah.
Similarly to you, like I have a father who exampled like, you
Mm,
know, how maybe one should be
yeah.
as a man, and even as we're getting older, like as we should be, like as a father, like as a husband, like when you have your own family, right?
Yeah, yeah.
My question to you is, how do you kind of like you've seen their example and you know yourself and how you are.
Mm.
How do you deal with that? Or like, do you ever think about that? Because obviously we're getting to that stage where, by God's grace, like we're gonna have our own wives and families and children and house, you know, and we need to, and we're like, it probably is on us to like take the leadership into like putting these things into place and like maintaining them, you know, and also being an example to our children of like how one should be.
Yeah.
Again, from the example of your father who seems to have done that very well. And you feeling the responsibility that you should be like that. How and like how you see yourself on a daily basis. How do you handle that? Because I think about this sometimes, and it would be nice to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. You know, that's a really good question. Yeah.
Give me some time. Scratching his head, you know.
I know. I forget that this is video as well. You know, I have to be careful, like scratching my head.
That is so good.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think is first of all, it's good that I'm very happy and privileged as well. That I still have my dad around. Because I can still go to him, and he's even said to me that, you know what, you can still come to me, and if there's anything going on that you need help with or you need support with, you can still come to me. So I feel like I still have that, his presence there, where I can go to him and seek advice and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it is.
I can tell you now, like, this is something that I worry about personally, mate. Because like, it's a thing of, mate, like, I'm not disciplined enough to like get myself in check. Like,
yeah, of course.
How the hell am I gonna be able to like get other people in check? Like, do you get me?
Yeah.
So like,
no, definitely, it is scary. It is scary.
Something that scares me, man. Like, I promise you.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, yeah, I mean, like, honestly, if we're being honest, definitely scares me as well, because it's just like you said, like with me, sometimes I struggle with my discipline and my consistency. Like, you get me? And if I'm struggling, how do I do that with a family? And how do I keep that going with a family? How do I set a good example? Because I can't say one thing and be doing another. Do you get me? So yeah, it is hard. It is scary.
Right. So do you know when you told your nice little testimony thing, you even mentioned testimony. Fam, this podcast ain't about hearing about testimonies, fam. I'm trying to find out who Phil is, like
right.
What made Phil, yeah. So to that point, you skipped a lot of time, fam. You went from literally Ghana to university. Like,
right.
What was Phil like in school, college, high school? Like, what was your interests? You know,
right. Yeah.
What kind of stuff were you up to? And even in terms of your faith as well, like chuck that in there. Like,
okay, yeah.
What were your friends like? Like, were you accepted as a Christian, like in school? Like, did you show that you were a Christian? You know, just all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Of course, yeah. Nah, I realized I skipped I skipped a big chunk.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Yeah, I mean, yeah, growing up in school. Okay, so secondary school. Yeah, I mean, secondary school, I was cool. Like, I was calm. Like, I wasn't loud. Like, if anything, growing up, I was really shy. So like I said, I'd rather be hanging out in the background than be in front of everything. And me and my brother went to school where we were the only black kids over there. So again, that was very different for us. So like being such a like being a minority in such a in that sense, it wasn't like school wasn't hard or stuff. I didn't experience racism or anything like that. Like school was calm. If anything, they were really nice. But yeah, I think in terms of was Christianity in my head, or was I showing out as a Christian and stuff like that? Probably not as much as I should have, because I had like a small group of friends, and maybe they would ask, "Oh, what do you do on Sundays?" And I'll be like, "Oh, I go to church on Sundays." And yeah, I don't remember that being an issue, kind of thing. But obviously, with them not being Christians, it was hard. It was like sort of hard to talk about Christianity when they don't believe in God, or when they're not going to church, stuff like that. So like in that sense, I wasn't talking about Christianity, or I wasn't showing that I was a Christian. But
would you say that like you didn't have any shame towards talking about it, or would you say that like a bit embarrassed to bring it up, or
yeah, to be honest, I would say I was a bit embarrassed, like
right,
to bring it up. So I wouldn't talk about it, or even when I was asked questions about church and stuff like that, I would sort of brush it off, kind of thing. Like I would answer it quickly, or just give like a one-word answer, and then that would be it, kind of thing. So in that sense, I'd say yeah, I was a bit embarrassed to talk about it because, like I said, it was just me that was like a Christian. As much I wasn't like out there doing madness, I was still very much hiding my Christianity, kind of thing. So I think, yeah, only a few people knew that I was a Christian. And also my parents especially my dad, were very strict. So it was literally homeschool, church, and then visit maybe family or visit visit family, kind of thing. So in terms of like, when school we used to have school disco, all those things. Never went to any of those things. House party, any of those things. I remember even prom. My dad was like, he dropped me off. No, actually, because a group of our friends, we went with a limo and stuff like that. Even that one, I really had to convince him. And then yeah, we finished at 9.
Sorry. So what did you have to convince him about?
No, I think I just literally had to be like, please, like I remember begging him, please, like a group of our friends, like we just want to get a limo and go together. There's nothing wrong with it. You know how
limo?
Yeah, like one of those limo. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Convince him like, no, that's not right. And
can't I drop you off?
Exactly. And as well, we each had to pay like money. Why am I spending money on that?
It's game over.
Game over. It took a while to convince him. But yeah, eventually he was like, yeah, that's fine. So he dropped me. So we all met at my friend's house, and then we got the limo to prom, stuff like that, whatever. But we finished at 9:30. My guy was there 9:15, ready to pick me up.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and like I asked, there was an after party going on. I asked him about that.
No chance.
Didn't go to that. So I came from a very quite a strict background growing up. So I wasn't allowed to do any of those things.
I didn't even get to go to prom. That's how strict my parents were. You know what? I'm not sure. Yeah, I think I probably asked, but there's a chance that I didn't even bother asking, mate.
Is it? Man. How do you feel like?
Oh mate, I'm still hurt about it now, for being honest. I'm still hurt about it now, for being honest. But to be honest, that's a question I was gonna ask you. But I was gonna wait till you maybe
right
finish your story. But I'll ask it now. So yeah, do in terms of like your parents being strict and stuff, like how did you feel about that? Like
how did I feel about that? I think obviously as a teenager, as a young person, like you're a bit angry. You're just like, oh, why wouldn't they let me do this? I want to do this. I want to go out with my friends. I think at that time I was not happy with my parents because I was like, you know what, I'm a child. I want to do what I want to do. You know, I want to, because I feel like obviously in this country, socializing was is one thing. Is how you make friends. You know, like you're going to people's house like parties or birthday things. And I felt like my friends were also inviting me, but I got to a stage where they know that I won't show up, so they weren't inviting kind of thing. So I could see that, you know, and I felt like I was missing out on a lot of things. You get me? I was missing out on getting to know people, and I was missing out on having girlfriends and stuff like that. Because you see people like, oh, they're together, they're going out, this, that. Like I want to know those things. You get me?
I get you, fella. I get you.
Some good-looking girls in high school that I wanted to go out with, but yeah, my parents shut that down. So I think at that time I was like, I was not happy with my parents. But now looking back, I'm like, you know what? I'm not entirely mad at them because I get that I get what they were protecting me from. I get why they were doing that, kind of thing. So in a way, I understand. Yeah, I understand where they were coming from.
I've gone through primary school here, high school here, college here, and I don't really chat to any of those guys. And it's again due to the fact that whenever they wanted to socialize, I wasn't there, you know. And it's another thing that makes me kind of sad is like, because you see them and they still talk to each other, like, and you chat to other people and like they're still friends with like their high school friends, like they even go and see them in like London or something. Like, you get me? Like they're like, that's how close they are, kind of thing. But with us, it's like that's never kind of been bred into us. Like, what's more been bred into us, which isn't a bad thing at all. It's like your family is your everything, and like this is all you need. But it's like, guys, it would be nice to have friends too. Like, you know, it would be nice to have friends too. So I kind of want you to maybe talk about that from your experience. It's like, did you, because you know, like we come from Nigeria or Ghana or somewhere else, right? And it's hard enough to try and fit in. Like, never mind when you're doing it on a 9-to-5 part-time basis, but like give us a chance to like fully fit in and give us a chance to make real friendships, you know, because like okay, I think you know what I'm getting at, so you can maybe take it from here.
I struggled in terms of maybe making friends, and also
maintaining friendships as well.
Maintaining friendships and also fitting in, because like, for example, where there's something going on, like maybe there's someone's party going on that weekend, and there's something happening, they're all together, they all, you know, had fun, whatever. The next day I go to school on Monday and they're talking about it and I have nothing to say. Do you get me?
No.
In that sense, I'm quiet. You get me? So I'm quiet, and like I don't want to be quiet, but because I have nothing to say or to talk about, I'm quiet.
Do you know what? Even on that, yeah. So again, these things like come to light now. Do you know? Oh, I think at work recently, like I can't remember what popular like TV show or like movie that they were chatting about. But bro, I had no idea what they were talking about. And that's happened so many times, because like even at home, it's not like you're out here watching Nickelodeon or like It's All Raven or like whatever. You're watching Nollywood movies or some other madness, and it's like like you just can't relate to much. Like you can't relate to what they did yesterday. You can't relate to what they're watching because you don't know. Like you're not watching it at home.
And I felt like people couldn't come and talk to me because they don't know what they would come and talk to me about. You get me? And made me very shy, made me very quiet, because I was like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Already I'm different. So now I have nothing to say. Even you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So it was I think it was hard. Yeah, it was hard growing up because I felt lonely. I felt like there was no one that I could relate to, and the point
Or
that
that could relate to you as well.
that could relate to me as well. Yeah, and the point that you made as well is like we're brought up to think that family first. Family's everything. So I mean, I'm not that far of age with my brother because he's 31, I'm 30. So we were quite close in that sense. So at home, I had someone like my brother I could play football with. We can watch football together. We can play video games. We can do this, do that. But when it came to outside the family, then I didn't really have anyone that I could relate to or relate to me or someone that I was close to in that sense.
Let's talk a bit more about, the good side of the upbringing that we did have,
Yeah.
And even like, how much it shows you how to value family as well, and how much how like it's kind of like no matter what happens, like I've got your back and you've got my back kind of thing.
Yeah. So for me, my family is very important to me because of that. Like I said, we're close. Me and my brother are quite close together in terms of age. And yeah, and I'll say that's one of the very, very good benefits of that. And as well as also instilling that sense of I don't know what the word is, like knowing that you're different as well when you go out in the world, because it's knowing that you're different as a Christian. You're different. It's saying that you see other people do, but
that's not what we do.
Yes, that's not what we do. Growing up, that's what our parents always used to tell us, or when my parents used to tell me, I know you want to go here for a sleepover, go there, but remember that we're Christians, man. That's one thing my dad always remember, that we're Christians. We don't do those kind of things. And as much as you're a kid, you're upset about that. But growing up now, it became a huge part of my life, because even, for example, I'll go out in uni, because I remember I talked about the fact that I wasn't reading the Bible, I wasn't praying, but I know that even if I step out in the world, there are certain limits that I can't cross. Do you get me? Because that's what I've been told, or that's what I grew up with, that, I can go out to the club, I can go out, do that, but know that for me to actually, like, say, for example, have sex or smoke or do that, I know in my head that that's a very strong line that you will be crossing. Even if I'll do it, like, I know that, right, I have to think about it deeply, kind of thing. So I knew that I was different, kind of thing, because my parents would always tell us, you can't do this as a Christian, you can't do that as a Christian, this is the life that you must live. So I'll say that's a benefit for me, because I know that, right, I might not be consistent with my relationship with God, but there's a line that I know that I can't cross. There's a line that I know that it's hard for me. I might cross it, but it's hard for me to cross it. To get
over and over again, like make that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, make that your way of life, like how.
Exactly. Yeah, over and over again. That can't be my way of life. Yeah.
So that can't be your identity, because you've got your identity. It goes against your identity.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's a huge benefit for me, and I'm always grateful for that. Yeah.
So did we ever have sex? And did we ever smoke the smoke?
Is that a real question, or is just a
realest question as you can get, man?
Wow, damn.